Hey, it's Greg Milby, Community Storyteller for Kentucky's Heartland. This is my friend Rick Games with the Elizabethtown Industrial Foundation. How's Rick doing?
Rick's fine. It's the Elizabethtown Hardin County Industrial Foundation.
Okay, well, we can roll with that.
Good to be here.
It's good to be you right now, too. My gosh, I mean, 2021 and 2022, I mean, those are banner years. I think down the road, you almost want to put this on a plaque of when the shift happened in our community.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. When we were talking today at lunch, 19 was such a stress and strain. And of course, I worked all through that 19 year in my office every day. And the phone never stopped ringing because of the pandemic. And a lot of what we've seen happen over the last 6 months or so is a direct result of work that actually took place during the pandemic. So yeah, it's been very busy and active.
Well, let's talk about the activity and what's happening because there is a lot of stuff, and not everybody is in the inner circle and kind of knows what's going on. So this is an opportunity for them to kind of get behind the curtain and see what's happening. First of all, Kruger Packaging. Talk about a facility over there that is really going up quickly.
That's a really great project. Most people probably aren't aware, but we are represented in our industrial park. I think we have 13 foreign companies that make up the entire fabric of our industrial community. But we're proud of that. Kruger is a Canadian company. It's family owned. There is a Mr. Kruger, just like there's a Mr. Ford. And they chose us through an extensive search that was most of 2020. We worked with them remotely. Mr. Kruger has yet to visit Elizabethtown because of COVID restrictions and that sort of thing. So, but they are a worldwide packaging company that they're going to make cardboard boxes here. And an easy way to explain would be shipping boxes, pizza boxes, any kind of specialty box that needs to be made, and they can make it. And we just did a drive-through on Monday of the interior of the building. They started that building in the fall of last year, and it was a tilt-up concrete building, so the walls came up over about a 6-day period, and their schedule has them producing product in a couple of months. So they're we've had great weather, thank goodness, and they've had a great construction crew working on the site. So it's been exciting, and they're going to they're investing about $120 million. They're going to have 150 plus employees, and we're just really excited. They're very community minded, and they're going to invest in the community, which is another thing we like to see. So we're very excited about Kruger.
Yeah, we've had an opportunity to be over there numerous times from the dirt work, all the dirt they moved around, to seeing those walls go up to literally within 2 or 3 days, the interior of that building just completely changed.
Yeah.
So it is very impressive what they've done, and we're excited to have them in our community. And they're not the only one. So a lot of, we're seeing other expansion. We're also seeing some other businesses come to town. Talk about that, but don't sneak in the BlueOval.
No, we'll talk about that at the end. Yeah, no, so we've seen over the past 2 years, we saw a significant expansion with a new office, North American headquarters office for Sudol. They have plans in the works to do another expansion. We've had contact with WL Plastics, a company that makes pipe. They're talking about expanding. Fishbach, a longtime customer of ours and a client of ours, it's located in the industrial park. I can look out the windows of my office and see them. They just completed a 65,000 square foot expansion. So, I mean, there's an abundance of activity, and there's an abundance of jobs available. I told a lady that we were talking to this morning that we need to get the word out all over the eastern United States. If you're looking for work, come to Hardin County, because we're going to have plenty of jobs. Then we're seeing a lot of interest. I had a phone call this morning from some commercial real estate folks that are looking at doing housing options, some retail stores, new restaurants. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and it's happening because of the activity that we've had going along here all along for years. But that one big announcement really, puts it out on a nationwide basis. And it's made a big difference in the activity level we've seen in the last few months.
Yeah, now we're not just talking about Elizabethtown, as you mentioned. It's
Oh, no.
Elizabethtown, Hardin
No.
County. So our friends to the north, in the northern part of the county, Radcliff,
Yeah.
they're going to be seeing some
yeah.
movement too in their industrial park
We
as well.
we
right?
hope. So we were contacted by a couple of companies that had interest, and I spoke with Mayor Duval about it, and he just said, "Hey, if you could take that and help us out a little bit," and then obviously we're more than happy to do that. So we have shown that to one group, and actually have another group that may be interested. So again, I think that's going to drive. This big project's going to drive a lot of that, and then of course we've got our neighbors in Meade County with a huge project there at the Nucor thing. It's going to drive some additional interest in this area. We're located on Interstate 65, which is the major trend. We just rode down south to our site down there, and you can't get on that road without 100 semis being around you. So it's you understand how much importance there is in that road, and we're fortunate to be located here, and we've got obviously 2 rail providers and great transportation network. So that's a big plus for us too. But yes, we're excited to help Mayor Duval, your good friend.
Yeah, I don't want to bother that. We'll cut that out. No.
JJ's a good guy, and he and I have talked
is.
frequently, and we hope that we can make something happen up there.
This community is a great community, and I'm loved seeing this growth and what's happening. And let's talk a little bit about the not a little bit, a BlueOval SK Park update, because things are moving. I've seen that. I've driven by there a few times because living in that area of the town, the county, there's movement already happening. And if we don't start moving on other things now, we're behind. We're behind because we've got a lot of work to do to make room for those folks that are coming to town.
Yeah. So it's sometimes it's really hard to imagine. Somebody, a lady with one of the local TV stations in Louisville a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the history of the site, and so today is, I voiced this yesterday, what is today, the 3rd?
It's the 2nd of March.
So yesterday was my 21st anniversary of this job. I started March the 1st of 2001. And the Hyundai project came to us about June of that year, and by the following April, had made the decision to go to Alabama. And of course, obviously, we were very disappointed when that didn't happen. But I'm glad today that it did, because it did several things. It allowed us to prepare the site, and then to land a client of the stature of the Ford Motor Company and SK Innovations is just it's outstanding. Great. They're going to be really great community partners, as is the case all over the world where they are. So that was a long, drawn-out process that it took. Well, I say long. It actually went fairly quickly as projects that size go. It was a 6 or 8 month ordeal, numerous site visits, numerous helicopter flights, numerous drone flights.
Lots of drone flights. Which, by the way, as we're talking, people are going to be seeing some of the highlights, some of the drone footage that's available, and also some of the other highlights that they have released as promotional material for this. Because it is jaw-dropping. You can't even really fathom the size of the facility when you drive by it.
Yeah, we did some calculations. The Kruger building, so you take the Kruger building and multiply it by 13. So each of those plants is 13 times the size of Kruger. Well, 3,600,000 square foot each, with about a 4,000,000 square foot footprint, and there's 2 of them. So, we've seen preliminary drawings. They're working on final drawings. They're putting together their joint venture partner agreement, which is the agreement between Ford and SK Innovations. Ford's kind of taken the lead on the construction side of things. They've hired contractors. They're moving into the community at probably a fairly significant rate. I think some of the construction folks I've talked to have told me that they expect there to be 1,000 construction workers by summer, and 2,000 by Christmas. So those people are going to have places to live and places to eat. They're talking about facilities down there on site, maybe for food trucks, and it's just it's a massive undertaking. I mean, and we've been through some of this. I think that's another thing, kind of in a different way, that when we had the BRAC of '05 and we saw the transformation and new missions coming to Fort Knox and we saw that influx of people, it was over a staggered period of time. And that's the way the employee ramp up will be for Ford. 250 1 year, 500 a year, 1,000 1 year, 800, until they get to that magic number. So that is not as scary to me as 1,000 people transients in by summertime to be construction workers.
Yeah, and as we start as you see that growth, and you're talking about other companies that are moving to town to support them. So there are a lot of other places that are going to be happening too. All right, so let's look down the road, 6, 7 years down the road, and they've got 5,000 employees there. You got to train these folks. So talk about the partnership with ECTC and what that means for this project.
Yeah, and remind me before we finish, I want to talk a little about our team that we had put together for the working the project.
Sure.
But yeah, Dr. Pate has been such a bright spot through this whole thing. The college is obviously a very large player in this because Ford, their entire human resource team has reached out to us on numerous levels, and we've been involved. That's probably where more of the meetings have taken place over the last several months than anything, and that's with their group out of Dearborn and Dr. Pate. They're going to be, they're in discussions on building a training center at the site, and that will be run by ECTC, it's our understanding. Location's not been nailed down yet, but that is a big part of the college's mission, will be to help them with programs as they're doing with Kruger, as they're doing with all these other companies we have, Metalsa, folks that require that kind of training. KCTCS has been the leader in that, and Dr. Pate has just been really, he's worked very hard to see this project come to fruition. We were chatting a minute ago about your partner Jana Clark in your video series. We put together a team early on, as we typically do. Our board, our executive team, some engineering folks that we use, the city and the county. Jana came in to help. Dr. Pate came in to help, and we had local citizens who were involved in testimonies about the community to the company. I mean, it was just fantastic how it all came together. And they were saying, "Oh, you did just such a great job. You did a great job." It was all of us. And the key, I know Mr. Prather, Joe Prather, always says that one of the high points of this community is that when good things happen, nobody really cares who gets the credit. And man, does that make it easier to do the things that we do. It's just, it's just been great. I mean, and
you trust a guy like Joe Prather because he has a road named after him.
Exactly
so
right.
You trust him when you talk about that.
And we've actually had clients that come in and he had been involved or had been in the visit, and they say, "Oh, you have a road named after you." I said, "You know what it is." So.
That's
but
big.
it's really, we are so blessed here. We have such great leaders, and that's what it takes. And the planners that over the last 30 or 40 years, people who built our infrastructure and put it in place and helped us prepare. It's a good deal.
Yeah, you got to have that, because this is not one of those. You think about the amount of time, and it's hard for you even to put the amount of time that you have put into this project to make it happen. It's not one of those, hey, we fill out an application and they decide if they want us or not. It is a long process. It is courting to make this marriage happen, and I appreciate all the work and the team, what they've done, because this doesn't just shape my future. This shapes my children's future and my children's children's future, and I think that is that's such a big thing for this community that we love. We love to call it home, but you've got to have things for your kids to grasp.
We're excited for a number of reasons. We've got some companies here over the last 10 years that are creating and continue to create really innovative products, and the Fish Box and the Sudals and Metalsa and Akibono and those people, and now Ford and Kruger. Those are jobs that your kids, my grandkids, will stay in E-Town and take. And that's what's exciting about it. And that's what we've got to be prepared for, about instead of the outflow of people, the inflow of people. And it's going to change our community. I think it'll be to the positive. I think we're going to see things that we haven't seen in the past that, I wish we had one of those. Well, it's probably coming. Just give it a little time.
So if somebody wants to get more information about construction jobs and they have an inquiry they want to do, how do they go about doing it? I know also that there is a type of a construction fair or something.
Well, they've had one. So the lead contractor on the job is Barton Mallow out of Detroit, and then Gray Construction in Kentucky, Lexington, has a percentage of the project. So they hosted a contractor fair a couple of weeks ago. It was very well attended at the State Theater. They were very impressed with the facilities and the turnout. So, the best thing to do is just watch the local paper, listen to the news, our social media feeds. We put out, job postings and that sort of thing. So, there are ways to find that out, but most of these contractors will obviously, once they get a portion of that job, then they'll be advertising locally to find out, if you're willing to work and that sort of thing. So,
good deal. Now, I have a little note card of information to ask you, and we've covered a lot of that, but we've not even really scratched the surface of what probably should be and could be covered. I would like to invite you to come back and just do kind of a reoccurring type series to where
we can do that.
Because you talk about we talk about charitable events that happen in our community. We talk about sporting events that happen in our community. I think this is just as important, because this is what feeds into sponsoring those sporting events, and what feeds into supporting those charitable organizations, are having well-paying jobs that have a lasting effect on your life here in our community.
We would be more than happy to do that. I now have some assistants, and probably
I'm sure he really likes you calling him your assistants too.
Yeah. Well, he can have some of this work very soon. But we have, we've got so many great companies that are looking for employees and are producing world-class products. There's a lot to talk about. And we didn't talk about and won't talk about much because we can't, but there are a lot of people right now looking at this area for new facilities. So, believe it or not. So we need everybody to, pull together. Let's continue to advance our community, be ready to make these folks welcome, and find some folks to work.
There you go.
It's difficult.
A lot of stuff happening here.
A lot of jobs.
Tons of stuff. Rick, appreciate the time today, as always.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
Elizabethtown Hardin County Industrial Foundation doing amazing stuff in our community, and we're going to continue to keep you updated as this thing progresses, because this is life-changing, and we're glad to be a part of it. I'm Greg Milby, Community Storyteller, and this is Kentucky's Heartland.